Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Reality Is. My name is Alicia.
And my name is Sanjana.
And before the show starts, we'd like to let viewers know that the values and opinions that are expressed on the show do not necessarily reflect the opinions of Close Look Productions. They are our opinions and ours alone.
We fully take credit for
Yes,
them.
we do. And we have a sponsor.
Yes, we do. Thank you, Surrey Honda. Please do check them out at surreyhonda.com. And you can find them on 152nd Street and Fraser Highway.
Perfect. Beautiful.
Thank you.
So let's get started with the show. So we're gonna do like a little introductory, very basic take on culture. We actually were supposed to do like a whole episode on cultural safety, which stay tuned, that will still happen. But we thought, hey, let's just talk about culture, like what our understanding of it is, so that we kind of have a better, I don't know, we're more equipped to like actually talk about cultural safety.
Exactly. This is like a great way to kind of get into culture safety with Balbir, who will be showing up and teaching us a thing or two.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So what even is culture though? Or like what do you find to be the definition of it?
Okay, so now correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like culture is you see it everywhere, right? Like it's just something that we know when someone is expressing their culture, but oftentimes we only look at like the basic I guess definition behind it, but we fail to realize that there's actually a bigger understanding of culture, and many times we don't acknowledge that.
For sure.
So we did a basic I guess you can say Google search of what culture is, and we came up with this definition. Culture is the custom, arts, social institutions, and achievements of a particular nation, people, or social group, and it's all commonly shared by a group. So I want to ask you, Sanjana.
This was so unexpected.
So what do you think of like when you think of culture?
Okay.
Like what comes to mind, I guess you can say.
I think about food, obviously. Languages. I would think about flags, dancing, singing, like music. I feel like there's more, but I don't know. That's usually what I think about.
Okay, so let's say if I told you about, I don't know, I don't even know what's a culture. Let's say Spanish culture.
Okay.
Okay, so like what do you think about?
I was gonna say Doritos. I'm like so confused. Daniel, I'm so sorry.
Daniel is
He's disappointed.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
He's so sad right
I'm
now.
sorry. Burritos. That's what I meant to say.
They sound very similar. So.
I'm getting this part cut.
No, we're not. Burritos. What else?
Oh my god. I was gonna say Dora the Explorer. I'm sorry.
Yes, Dora. Yep.
Dora.
Yeah, she speaks Spanish. Okay.
Spanish.
Honestly, these are very. I would not have thought that you would think of these characteristics for Spanish culture, but continue.
Oh my.
Continue.
There's more. Daniel, give me some hints. Come on.
This is going so painfully.
It's like end my misery. Please tell me the truth.
Okay, and we're done. So good job, Sanjana.
Thanks.
I mean, this didn't go the way I expected, which is hilarious.
So disappointing.
But hey, the reality, right? The reality of the situation is this is not what I expected. So yeah, you mentioned food. You mentioned Dora the Explorer, who is Spanish, and she speaks a language. There you go, good one. So and do you want to add one more? Like, just because we'll have 3? Salsa, flamenco, which is dancing. What else? Spaniards. I don't know, things like that, right? Just random things that you associated with Spanish culture. And Daniel is making a face at us. Anyways, so with that in mind, good job.
Thank you.
We came up with a lot of very common things that people think of when they think of culture, right?
Yeah.
Again, language, food, Dora.
The usual.
The usual. But we did go beyond that, right? We didn't think about like other things like, I don't know, the status of women in that culture, how their government is formed in that culture, what else? Their gestures, their courtship. Like, those are the things that actually fully make up that culture. That's what makes them distinct to, let's say, Canadians. So let's go back to culture and let's look at the definition again. Okay, so the better definition is all the things that people have learned to do, believe, what their values are, and what they enjoy. It's the totality of that, of their ideals, their beliefs, their customs, their institutions. So it's not just like that superficial tip of the iceberg that we always are so quick to acknowledge. When you look at the deeper culture, right? And when I said iceberg, there's an actual concept. I think it's called the cultural iceberg concept. And right at the top again, it's like all the superficial stuff: dance, music, language. The bottom is like those deep-seated things that we fail to acknowledge, right?
Yeah.
So,
and when we talked about this like over the call and stuff, we were mentioning like how all these things that I spoke about in terms of like Dora and like food, that's all like things that you can find at like a fusion festival, right?
Exactly. So for those of you who aren't from Surrey, the Fusion Festival is a perfect example of that tip of the iceberg, understanding of culture. So when you go to the Fusion Festival, have you gone?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, so what is it like? It's just flags and language and music, dance, right?
Yes.
But it just doesn't go beyond that. So
exactly. We're not fully like actually enjoying or embracing like the full culture.
Yes, the good and the bad of it, right? And that's all we appreciate. That's all we come to know of that culture.
And then we're not fully understanding like the people who are part of those cultures either, because I find like my culture plays such a huge role in my life, whether I realize it or not, by the way that my parents raised me. So yeah, I feel like all those factors really need to be considered.
Yeah, and now we're not saying that you have to do all your research on a culture for you to be culturally appreciative and culturally sensitive. It's just for like everyone to realize that what we see is just a little bit, and it's our duty, if we are to be culturally safe or culturally sensitive, is to kind of be aware that when we're communicating with someone who might be culturally, we might not share the same culture, always keep in mind that you are learning as you're communicating with that person. That person's learning from you in that interaction.
And speaking about being culturally sensitive, how do you feel like Canada presents all the cultures that we have in our country? Because we do pride ourselves as multicultural.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I feel like when we say multicultural, it's like such a feel-good word. Like we're being accepting of other cultures, and we're embracing it, and we're incorporating it into our society, which is like complete opposite from like the American melting pot concept, which is basically like you come to our country and you kind of just abide to American, I don't know, lifestyle and ideals, like the American way of life. So it's nice that, we're the opposite of that. But at the same time, if we're being multicultural at the superficial level, then we're not really doing much to actually understand that culture.
Like, it's so nice to say, like, we're accepting and we're embracing, because those are things that make people feel welcomed and makes the country obviously look really good as well.
Exactly. If you're able to show, like, okay, I'm gonna be like super, I don't know, political? No, like a stereotypical, but like if you show a picture of people holding hands and they're just smiling and they're different colors and it's like, yes, we're doing it. But if it doesn't go beyond that, like actually fully understanding where that person's from, what their experiences are, then it just literally just stays at, it's more performative, I think.
Yeah, exactly. As you're just putting on a show.
Yeah.
And I feel like I do want to acknowledge that, like
Mhm.
you mentioned, like we're not maybe like the States in some way, like we're not focusing on universalism and just
Yes.
focusing on, yes, equality is super important, but I think also recognizing that we are different people from different cultures
Yeah.
and that we need to have our needs met in those different aspects and to respect that there's going to be different ways of approaching things for different cultures and belief systems as well.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm actually glad you brought up universalism because
Mm-hmm.
that's like I think so important. It's like one of the I guess foundations for understanding and appreciating culture.
Mm-hmm.
And universalism is basically like, you know, people are the same. We come from the same species. Humankind. And again, I don't want to like go and veer off into I don't know other nations, but like in America, like it would basically be like all lives matter. We're all the same, right? But the thing is that we kind of become blind to the fact that we are different and we don't have the same experiences. And even people within the same culture, they have different experiences, right? So it's just always, you know, it's always important to be cognizant of the fact that it's okay if we're different. It's okay. You know, it's just let's not run away from that. Let's actually celebrate it, but properly celebrate it.
Yeah, and I think the way to really combat universalism is really try to gear towards multiculturalism, but like you said, not focusing just on the surface level and acknowledging the whole holistic picture.
Yeah, the whole iceberg, even what's underground. So I feel like that was a really good introduction to culture, and you know, when we do talk about cultural safety, that our viewers know a little bit about culture in itself, and that's really important if we want to talk about cultural safety. So that's awesome. But keep in mind that this is a discussion; these are our opinions. So, you know, if you have something that you don't agree with, that's also very valid. You know, there's a lot of opinions that come into effect when we talk about culture. So yeah, we'd love to hear what others have to say about this.
Yeah, and come on to our show if you have different opinions as
Yes.
well. We're always looking for guest speakers. But I think this was a really great stepping stone towards our conversation that we'll be having soon with Balbir.
Yes.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that.
Please, for those of you that are talented in multifaceted ways, dancers, inventors, musicians,
Singers.
performers, that's your time to shine. So please do go to cluefoundation.org where you will find the registration form, and we look forward to watching your videos. And that's it for us. I guess we do this now.
We do this now.
And we will see you next week on Thursdays at 6 p.m.